Right now on 12, a woman robbed at gunpoint. Police still investigating at this hour. We've got the details on the case coming right up.
All right, we're looking at some pretty wet conditions outdoors. We're looking at temperatures in the 60s, going to remain in the 60s by that morning wake up, and the rain will be turning off. I'll give you all the details on that a little bit later on. You're watching News 12.
Good evening and thanks for tuning in to News 12 The Bronx. I'm Amanda Bossert.
And I'm Kurt Semder, and local matters right here, of course, on News 12. And we're starting things off on Storm Watch because, as you can see, we've got a lot of rain making its way into our area at this hour.
All of this, the remnants of Nicole, which hit further south before moving up in our direction. Now we're dealing with the brunt of it. Let's get to Storm Watch Team's Daryl Green with more on when this wet weather gets out of here. Daryl.
Off as we go through the remainder of our Friday. By early Saturday morning, let's say 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we'll be saying goodbye to the rounds of wet weather that we're going to be dealing with. If you have any plans on being out, know that around the midnight hour we get a bit of a break, but there's more moisture that will be riding in our direction. So do your part. Take it nice and easy. Slow it down on the area roadways. Now would be a good time to go out because we've got a break in the activity. There's more showers out towards the west. Let's zoom it into the Bronx to see maybe just some light shower drizzling activity out there, but the wet road conditions are certainly there. By the time we get to the 8 o'clock time period, another round of showers pushing through. By 10:30 or so, more showers. By midnight, a bit of a break. We get the clouds to clear out just briefly, but don't let that fool you. We're going to have more showers out there between 4 and 5 o'clock, and then the system pushes through with some moderate showers pushing through between 6 and 7, and then we start to see the skies clearing, but the temperatures will be on the decline. We're going to keep it in the middle 60s as we go through the overnight into the very early morning hours. Pelham Gardens, we're going to continue to see the temperatures pretty steady. 60s, maybe even the lower 70s. A little bit of a break in the activity as far as the rain is concerned. But after 3 a.m., that next round of rain comes in. We'll be looking at temperatures falling back into the middle 60s. They will rise as we go through the overnight because we're dealing with a southerly wind flow gusting to about 40 miles per hour. So if you're going to be out and about, some of that rain will be wind driven. We've got a cold snap on the way. Once the system pushes out, a big difference is going to be out there from Saturday to Sunday and next week. I'll give you all the details in that 10-day forecast. You're watching News 12, where local matters.
All right, Daryl, thank you. We continue to keep an eye on the weather, of course, as the city is seeing these remnants of Nicole. News 12's Phil Tate is around with Thunderbolt 12 right now out on the Belt Parkway.
Yeah, how are the conditions faring at this hour, Phil?
Yeah, well, Amanda, Kurt, we are still on the Belt Parkway. It's a bit darker now, but the rain definitely continues to prevail. We got out the car not too long ago, and unfortunately, it was very windy, and that rain was just swinging around, and it was quite uncomfortable. Let's take a live look outside right now just to show you a little bit of the conditions that are going on. You can see those roadways, they remain slick, and it just goes to show you how much rain has fallen. The good news is everyone out here has been taking it slow, which is extremely important, and leaving space in between the cars that are in front of them. Of course, if you're planning on heading out the door, of course, you want to follow those same rules to avoid any incidents or accidents, especially as possible flooding can always fill up in poor drainage areas. Now, the New York City Sanitation Department did tweet that they'll be clearing basins to make sure they are clearing debris. And of course, as you can see right there, cars are just making their way through. We'll be continuing to rove around in Thunderbolt 12 to make sure that our roadways we're tracking the very latest to make sure that everyone is staying safe, especially as we deal with the remnants of Nicole. That's latest here on the Belt Parkway. I'm Phil Tate. I'll send things back inside to you.
Good to see things are moving smoothly, but definitely take it slow out there. Phil, thank you. We're turning now to a robbery that happened in Claremont. Take a good look at this video that was released by police. Police tell us that a woman was robbed at gunpoint earlier in the month, and now they're looking for the two men who stole her purse. Both of those suspects are between 10 to 20 years old. They were wearing all black at the time. One of them shooting at another person who tried to help that woman. Thankfully, no one was injured and they were able to run off. So if you have any information, police do ask that you reach out.
And the NYPD is investigating a string of robberies by knife point, this in Brooklyn and Queens. We're told between October 20th and November 3rd, the men you see here on your screen went into 7 different businesses, pulled out a knife, and then demanded cash from the register. Now, the latest incident happening at a deli on Myrtle Avenue in Clinton Hill. Police say he's gotten away with more than $9,000 in total. Thankfully, though, no injuries have been reported. If you know anything you're asked to call police.
A fire in East New York claimed the life of a woman early this morning. FDNY says that those flames started in the third floor of the four-story apartment building on Van Siclen Avenue at around 4 in the morning. The super of the building says the woman was originally from right here in the Bronx, but had moved into that building just 6 months ago. Neighbors also tell us that they referred to her as Sugar. The cause of the fire remains under investigation.
Well, back here in the borough now, last week we told you about 3 restaurants on City Island that received letters in the mail that depicted racism and anti-Semitism.
Unacceptable. In the days that followed, the community rallied behind them. But just yesterday, Seafood Kings, the only black-owned business on City Island, was targeted again, receiving yet another letter. Yeah, News 12's Faith Graham is at that restaurant right now. And Faith, what's reaction been like there tonight?
Well, the reaction has been full of love and people having their backs. If anything, it seems as though this has encouraged even more people to come bring their business to Seafood Kings, including some members of a local synagogue that is just down the street. They came here tonight to voice their disappointment and to show their support.
It's just so chilling, you know, because City Island is such a lovely community. All my friends who live on the island are all so congenial with each other and lovely with each other. It was just so hard to imagine that in this little tiny enclave we could have something like that.
Berkowitz is referring to this threatening letter Seafood Kings received yesterday portraying racist remarks. It refers to Hitler and also calls them out for speaking publicly about this first letter they received 1 week prior. 2 other restaurants also received it, Archie's Tap and Table and Caliente's. Police are now looking into where the letters came from. But Darryl Laley, the owner of Seafood Kings, says he won't let this impact his business. In fact, all it's done is shown him how much support he has.
Oh man, everybody's been coming by and showing their support, let us know they appreciate us. Some people say we don't even eat seafood, but you know what? Because of that, we're just coming here and buy something just to support you and let you know that we're behind you and we're thinking about you.
And that support is only expected to grow. Seafood King says they'll be holding a rally right here outside the restaurant tomorrow at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They'll be inviting church leaders, elected officials, and their neighbors to gather together and to call for an end to the hate. They tell me they're expecting hundreds of people to attend. That's the latest from City Island. Faith Graham, News 12.
Should be quite a rally there tomorrow, Faith. Thank you. Meanwhile, less than a month after it opened, the Randall's Island Migrant Relief Center is now closed, and everyone who was taking shelter there now going to be moved to a new center. This is the Watson Hotel in Midtown. Now, the mayor's office says this new shelter is specifically going to be used to house single adult men asylum seekers. As for migrant advocates, they say it is a big improvement over the center at Randall's Island.
We were never in support of it because we thought that there was more than enough space that the city operated and controlled and also could rent out that would be a little bit more dignified, and happy that we're moving it to an actual brick and mortar building where people will have a little bit more dignity in their reception to coming to New York City.
And the Watson Hotel shelter will have 600 rooms available for newly arriving migrants.
Turning now to this wild video out of nearby Westchester County, a business now picking up the pieces after a woman accidentally drives her car right into it. This was a little after 3 yesterday afternoon. That Jeep comes crashing through the wall. That at Papoose Greek Kitchen restaurant on Commerce Street up in Yorktown. There were about 20 people inside. Fortunately and amazingly, no one was hurt, not even the driver.
Wow. The governor and other New York elected officials joined Somos Community Care for their annual day of service in Puerto Rico. Known to many as the city's 6th borough, they're helping provide relief efforts after the island was hit hard by Hurricane Fiona just 2 months ago. Now, they were on the ground delivering food, helping to make repairs, and offering medical support. Somos says it's important to be there for the community that doesn't have a voice.
This has been a routine, a spot that we go down there and brainstorm what's next for the next year. What projects, how can we better collaborate, how to concentrate in those that are underserved in our case. So we go out there with an open mind.
And today, Governor Hochul also proclaimed November Puerto Rican Heritage Month here in our state, adding that over 1 million Puerto Ricans call New York their home. Well, this week on Power and Politics, we're talking about what else? Vote 2022. The election is in the books, and Governor Kathy Hochul is heading back to Albany after her historic election win. But now, what's next? Well, we asked our political expert, Dr. Christopher Malone of Farmingdale State College, what should be at the top of her agenda.
Number one, she will go back to Albany with a very left-leaning, progressive, democratically controlled legislature. Okay, so she's got that on one side. Number two, though, she really seems to have to do something more about the issue of crime, and that remains to be seen what it would be.
And more analysis of Vote 2022, plus you'll hear from newly re-elected Congress members. We're even going to look ahead to the next presidential election. It's a can't-miss edition of Power and Politics this Sunday morning at 11:30, right here only on News 12. And yes, local matters right here on News 12 The Bronx.
But next we are heading to Manhattan, where the city's police and fire departments were together with Army officials for Veterans Day. You're going to see more about what they did beyond honoring those who served.
Plus, a new museum is opening up on Broadway. Get a first look at what it's all about. That's just a few minutes away.
And we are on Stormwatch tonight. Stormwatch team's Daryl Green will be back with us with a look at your full forecast when we dry out and cool down big time. That's right here on News 12 The Bronx after the break.
Van Nest, you're watching News 12 The Bronx. Local matters.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Veterans Day, and today the U.S. Army, the NYPD, the FDNY, among so many that gave thanks to veterans today.
And they even offered jobs in Times Square. News 12's Shakti Dennis has that story from Manhattan.
This is our Up Armored model. We have a couple different versions of this system.
In honor of Veterans Day, the United States Army showed off some of its equipment today, steps away from the Veterans Day parade.
They'll bring in these vehicles so they could get to places where a regular rolling stock vehicle can't get to.
Anyone walking by got a close look at some of the machines that troops use to defend the nation.
So we can run comms through this system.
Including some people who have used them in real life.
3 tours in Iraq. I actually got injured out there, but I'm okay. You know, today is the day that makes it all good. It makes me feel great.
We out here on Veterans Day having such a good time, Times Square.
The Army says enrollment has declined in recent years, so they were out in the rain today to tell people all about the job.
We have over 150 job positions, anything from aviation, transportation, logistics, medical field.
They were also joined by the NYPD and FDNY, who are actively recruiting as well.
We're here with the U.S. Army recruiting for candidates for the position of firefighter, EMT trainee, and fire protection inspectors.
A lot of people see NYPD and just think police officer. That could be farthest from the truth. We have so many different careers and titles.
And of course, they were out here to pay tribute to those who have given their lives to protect this country and those who continue to do so every day. In Times Square, I'm Shakti Dennis, News 12.
Shakti, thank you. Well, 2 weeks after buying Twitter, new owner Elon Musk is already warning employees about its survival. In a meeting with staff on Thursday, Musk warned employees that Twitter did not have the necessary cash to survive. Twitter currently earns 90% of its income from advertisers who have shied away from the platform since his takeover. Now, in an effort to improve cash flow, Musk has been trying to create subscription revenue.
As we head into the holidays, more people are now updating their COVID vaccines. A record number of updated COVID boosters were handed out last week. That came out up to about 5 million doses. That's the highest number since January. Still, though, less than 1 in 10 people in the country have gotten one of those updated booster shots.
All right, baseball's free agency began yesterday, and a lot of fans are just hoping that their guys are coming back. The Yankees have extended qualifying offers to Aaron Judge and Anthony Rizzo. If they sign the offer, they'll receive a little under $20 million for the upcoming season. Good deal for Rizzo, not so much for Judge. They've got 10 days to make a decision on that offer. If they decline, they'll become unrestricted free agents.
Will it be enough to keep him on the team? We'll see. Americans feeling worse about the U.S. economy. That's according to the University of Michigan survey of consumers, that their preliminary index reading showed consumer sentiment fell less than 55% this month. It was nearly 60% in October. Now, if consumers believe prices will remain high, that could factor into increased wage demands, which in turn could cause businesses to raise their prices.
Well, Gap is joining forces with Amazon. Gapazon? I don't know. The clothing company announced it has launched an official store with the e-commerce company. Prior to this, Gap products were able to be purchased on Amazon, but only through third parties. Now, among the Gap items available on Amazon, you got denim, hoodies, t-shirts for infants through adults. Baby Gap items as well, including cribs and strollers, they will be up for sale on Amazon. And shares of Gap rose more than 7% in Thursday's late afternoon trading. Explorers looking for World War II artifacts in the Atlantic Ocean came across a remnant of the doomed Space Shuttle Challenger. The 20-foot-long piece of debris was found off the east coast of Florida during the filming of a new History Channel series called The Bermuda Triangle into Cursed Waters. NASA officials in a statement confirmed the wreckage was from the Challenger.
All right, pack your patience this holiday season, because travel app Hopper predicts 70% of people in the U.S. will be leaving home to spend the Thanksgiving holiday with family and friends. The company says that's roughly 3.3 million people who will be hitting the road the Sunday before Thanksgiving Thursday. Now, according to their findings, Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International will be the busiest airport in the U.S., followed by Dallas-Fort Worth and Denver International. Others in the top 10 include JFK, right here in New York City, no surprise there, and LAX in Los Angeles. Already thinking ahead to Thanksgiving travel. It'll be here before you know it. And it seems like the temperatures are going in line with the season.
Great.
Yeah, we got some changes out there, folks. We've got to get through the wet weather first, but over the next couple of days, we're going to be seeing temperatures that are only going to be in the 40s and 50s. We'll talk about that in a 10-day. Right now, limited visibility for some locations. We're going to need to be careful out on the roadways. We've got wet road conditions in some locations, visibility under 1 mile. So you need to not use the high beam headlights. Give yourself plenty of room in between cars. And we have another round of low visibility, especially from Sheepshead Bay, JFK, and out towards Queens, about a half mile or so as we go through the late night hours, and then it improves as we get into our Saturday. Still dealing with the wet weather outdoors there, a bit of a break in the activity, but there's plenty wet conditions on the surface already. Futurecast is going to show additional showers pushing through between 3-4 o'clock in the morning. The last of it pushes through between 6 and 7, and the sky's beginning to clear by 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we watch the temperatures fall. The 72-degree temperature, going to feel that very, very early. Cold front's going to come in, knock those temperatures down. We're looking at temperatures in the 40s and 50s as we get into Sunday. And yeah, not too much better out there for Monday, where I doubt if we see 50-degree readings as we start the new work and school week. So temperatures remaining in the middle 60s as we go through the overnight. 60s and lower 70s very early. The winds will be picking up a bit and coming in from a northwestern direction. Maybe some early morning showers, and then we'll start to feel the temperatures dropping. So we go from the 70s into the 50s and then the 40s and 50s as we go through the next, let's say, 7 to 9 days. Another round of showers in the forecast as we get into Wednesday, and then we're looking at temperatures mid and upper 40s next Thursday through the weekend into next week. At least it'll be dry. You're watching News 12, where local matters.
News 12 wants to share your favorite sounds of the season with the rest of our community. Go to news12.com from November 14th through the 16th to nominate a local choir, band, or solo performer that you think deserves recognition this holiday season. Sounds of the season, only on News 12. Local matters.
More generation, and this is all gone again.
Well, one Brooklyn woman reflects on her parents' war contributions. She is one of countless families that have helped the Greenwood Cemetery salute American war veterans. We've got this story for you coming up tonight at 10. Well, the comedy world has lost one of its most iconic stars, known for making messes on the stage. Gallagher, best known for his shtick of smashing watermelons with hammers. Well, he died according to Gallagher's manager. The comedian recently had an undisclosed health issue which contributed to his death. Gallagher, whose first name was Leo, rose to fame in the early 1980s with comedy specials and performances. In one of his most famous recurring bits, he would smash watermelons and then other messy foods as well, covering his audience in the process.
If you're still hungry for dessert, we've got some good news for you. It is National Sundae Day. There are many different origins of these treats, even one from right here in New York. A pharmacy upstate created a cherry sundae in 1892. They covered dishes of ice cream with cherry syrup and candied cherries everywhere. Now it's become a dessert staple. So be sure to celebrate Sundae Day with some of your favorite flavors and toppings. And we're getting a look at the new Museum of Broadway. It's the first ever permanent museum in this city, dedicated to the storied history and legendary artistry of Broadway musicals, plays, and theaters. The one-of-a-kind museum is an immersive and interactive theatrical experience devoted to musicals, plays, and the people who create them. It officially opens to the public next week, November 15th.